All fired up. We're back. We have a special guest today. I'm excited. We're missing two of our normal people, but it's our gambling edition. Joey Clax, producer extraordinaire, always with me or I can't do my show. Thank you for joining us.
What's up, pal? I decided to not sell Christmas trees and not take pictures of my dog on the couch. So I'm here.
Yeah. Unlike our other two hosts who did not show up because one is slinging trees, Christmas trees in California, and the other one
having a doggy photo shoot. He's having a poodle photo shoot on his couch for Instagram.
Those are important, man.
Yeah.
Well, that voice you just heard, it's a familiar voice to All Fired Up. If you are a fan from back in the day, I don't know how many of those still exist, but if you're still alive, any of those people, when we talked about Tim Tebow and Jeremy Lin back then, Mr. Aksel G. Yes, he's our
Happy Hanukkah, everyone. I'm excited. I think
Nice.
We're ready to rock. It is the first day of the Festival of Lights, so I think this is a perfect time to celebrate point spreads. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. There's 8 candles plus the Shabbos, so we got 9 candles. We got
Correct.
9 games to talk about, plus a couple extra. So that's a perfect thing. I like that analogy. I'll roll with it. He's our Carolina expert, folks. He could give you anything you need to know in the Carolinas and some New York teams while you're at it, just like Joey Clax. So should we start?
Little sprinkle of everything.
Let's start with a game that's going to be really, really, really ugly. Clax, what do you think of this Bengals-Cowboys game? Because you know John was here, he'd be taking the Bengals, and even though they're getting only 3.5, he would take it. You know he'd take it.
I can't. This is just a disgusting nightmare. And it's just a disgusting nightmare. And you can put John down for the Bengals, by the way. There's one thing I can guarantee you is that he would have taken the Bengals, and he would have called it one of his locks for the week. It's just disgusting. But
42.5 is the over.
Yeah, I'll take the Cowboys in the over, dude. Yeah, it's way too much inexperience on that Cincy team. You got to take the veterans. I'm gonna take Cowboys. I'm gonna take Red Rocket. Red Rocket in the over.
What do you think, Axel?
I'm going to go ahead and go with the absolute opposite of that. So I'll make a couple of points really quickly. First and foremost, you have Dallas has one of the absolute worst defenses in the league, and they're coming off of some absolutely incredible injuries. And now you have Zach Martin down, especially in the offensive line. Since he's been playing hard, even though it's not getting him the wins, I feel like this is a sneaky W for Cincy at home.
Who's the quarterback for the Bengals right now?
Something Allen.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
That's why I can't take the Bengals, because I don't know who their quarterback is. Their running back Mixon is out. AJ Green looks like he's 60. And their defense is garbage also. And it's funny because you would think when there's 2 garbage defenses, I would take the over. But no, I'm taking the under in this game just because I think it's going to be that ugly garbage. Both quarterbacks suck. And I'm going to take the Bengals, I guess. I think I'm taking the Bengals. I don't know why I want to take the Bengals, but 3.5, like, no, I can't do it.
Common misconception. Let me before you answer that question.
Okay.
Common misconception about the Bengals defense is that they're terrible. They're actually pretty middle of the road.
They're pretty okay.
They're pretty okay, not terrible. Yes, I'll agree with you about the offense, but hey, I'm gonna let you take one huge guess here and tell me whose offense is ranked lower than the Bengals.
The Cowboys?
Yes. So keep that in mind, right? So not only do you have that on your side, but they're playing at home. There's a lot of back and forth happening as we speak about the Cowboys absolutely hating their lives in terms of a roster, especially when it comes to their coaching. So there also is something to be said about the give a shit factor, right? And that, that means a lot.
All right, I'm going with the Bengals then. I'll stick with it. That convinced me. I don't like ever betting on the Red Rocket. I thought that with Dak, they were going to win 11 games this year. Without him, 4. They've got 3 right now. This could be number 4, but no, I'll stick with it. What about these other 2 teams that are kind of struggling? We're starting with some crappy teams today. Bears and Texans. Basically a pick. I'm 1 point going to the Bears at home, 45.5 over under. What do you think, Axel? You think Trubisky? We had a little conversation this year. I never thought Trubisky should have come out as the quarterback. I think Nick Foles is the most overrated quarterback, or other than Kirk Cousins, is the most overrated quarterback. Don't get me going on Kirk Cousins. That's a later conversation. But I think they messed up the whole season by taking Trubisky out. Personally, now they're playing the 4-8 Texans. It's a pick 'em. What do you think in this?
Yeah, I have. In terms of odds, I actually have Houston giving 1.5. So funny because these two teams literally have the two worst running offenses in the NFL, right? So we're going to be throwing the ball a lot. The game is in Chicago. I believe weather-wise, they should be somewhere around like high 20s, low 30s in terms of degrees that day. I feel like this is going to be a low-scoring game, and I feel like it's going to be a gross game. But I'm going to go with Houston giving 1.5. What did you say the over-under was?
45.5.
I'm going to take the under on that as well because regardless of how many like random touchdowns Deshaun could throw, Trubisky is never going to match that. So another like random point about Houston is that once again, for I don't know how many years in a row, is their defense is just constantly just lowering themselves in terms of value, and they're once again having a terrible year as a defense. I don't understand why, as an organization, selling off D-Hop, they should really even take a look at maybe getting rid of J.J. Watt because
okay. So how good is J.J. Watt still?
He's great, but if the defense as a whole is in the bottom 10 of the league constantly, once again this year, and the only thing that you're above average in is, I believe it was like defensive touchdowns. Everything else you're below the average, below the curve. So why not get rid of him and build for the future, especially with, your quarterback.
I agree.
Your quarterback locked up forever.
I agree. I think that they should have got rid of one, either both or none. And I think J.J. Watt is still really, really good. If you watch the games he plays, he's good. He's triple teamed half the time. There's no one else. Once Clowney left, there was no one else to scare anybody on that defense. Clax, what do you think? You got your money on Trubisky this week? I feel like you do.
It's in Chicago.
I know you.
It's in Chicago in the cold, and I like everything that Axe just said, and it's all facts, and I'm not putting my money on Mitch, just for the record. I'm putting my money on Chicago's defense in the cold, and so I'm gonna take the Bears in the under.
Did Jonathan text you and give you the weather report by chance?
No, I actually just got it from Max.
I know he really cares about the weather. You know what I like in this matchup? I'm going to take the Texans, and I'll tell you why. Well, quarterbacks is a great reason to start, but head coaches. Romeo Crennel has got them playing. They've won 4 out of 6.
Yep.
The Bears are not good, and their head coach is going to get fired at the end of the season. He's not good. We've been predicting these coaches to get fired. We're going to get to the Jets later, and Clax has a theory of why Gase still has a job. Because he's the only one that we predicted that should have been fired that hasn't yet.
Yep.
And the theory is,
hold on a second. You can get into that, but I want to question whether or not I want to fact check this. Romeo is 4 of 6.
Yeah, because they 2-6 when they fired their head coach.
Were they?
And now they're 4-8. Oh, so that would make them.
Yeah, they would be 4-2.
Oh yeah, then they're 4-2.
Wow. All right.
Or they're within.
I think in between week 6 and 7, he took over.
Yeah, so it was something like 1-5 or 0-6 when he got fired, and now they're 4-8.
I think they were 1-5.
1-5. So then he's 3-2 or 3-3, whatever. He's still getting them to play where they weren't playing hard before. That's the biggest difference.
4 of the last 5, outside of obviously the loss.
4 out of the last 5 is impressive.
That's good. That's
all right.
Oh, you know who else has done something like that you won't call impressive? Cleveland Browns, but we'll get to them later too.
I don't even want to talk about that. That'll be the last thing we'll talk about. But the reason
Axel put together a top 5 list for us, Clax, just so you know.
Good, and I'm sure the Browns aren't in it. However, I Adam Gase still has a job because somewhere along the lines, he said, okay, I'll go 0-16. Somewhere along the lines, he said, okay, I'll go 0-16, and shit rolls downhill. You're telling me that last play of that Raiders game, that defense got called intentionally to try to win the game? No. That defense got called to try to lose the game.
It worked.
And it worked.
Genius. But yeah, basically, they
The
realized
corner even pulled up.
Yes.
Exactly. If they fired Adam Gase, there's a good chance the Jets could win 1 or 2 games this year.
Williams, is that the defense coordinator? He got scapegoated. And Gase, the $1 million question that I have is, does Gase still have a job next season?
If he does, this was a rigged season. That's the only way he has a job is if it's a rigged season.
I'm going to buy a Lawrence Taylor jersey because I'll be a Giants fan forever after that, dude.
What do you think of that, Axel?
So here's the deal. Like when the defensive coordinator calls the actual all-out blitz, the head coach has the option to go, wait, dude, that's a terrible decision.
Exactly.
It's not like they're not in the same headset together,
right?
So it's not like he can't go, hey, bro, that's fucking stupid. Let's go ahead and not do that. Actually, let's go ahead and do you know what? Okay, let's call a timeout right here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But he didn't do that. So I don't know. I didn't realize there was a Adam Gase conspiracy theory as a topic of discussion tonight. I'm really excited that there is because I can actually see that happening. Right?
Yes.
If here's another conspiracy theory. Now that I'm thinking through this, maybe he's just blowing his season, and maybe there's like a huge under the table payday coming up for him in some capacity. You know what I mean? I always think about that because like I don't understand like. Just because there's like a cap doesn't mean they can't be like shady deals, like, you know.
Like Tom Brady in New England, every year he'd take his huge pay cut. Like Robert Kraft wasn't giving him something under the books.
Exactly. Like there wasn't like bags of gold bars like showing up. You know what I mean?
You know it.
I don't know. So, but the deal is, look.
When LeBron showed up in LA, what do you think they were giving him? More than just a regular contract that every other team offered him. I'm sorry.
Exactly. So there was a lot of backdoor deals happening. And I feel like that's actually the norm. Just the norm that like people don't want to talk about or even, you know, consider. You know, because sports, a lot of times, you know, that's all we got, right? After everything's said and done to like just like for you know, and if that gets exposed, what else we got?
All right, I got a question for you. The
answer is Pornhub, by the way.
Nope, that would have been the answer if we didn't have SATs as our blog.
Sure.
Next year it'll be Pornhub Premium. Chiefs, Dolphins. Are the Chiefs to you the absolute just favorite to win the Super Bowl? Because I've been saying it since week 1. Like it's no doubt in my mind. It'd be a giant upset if they don't win the Super Bowl. It's them against the field, in my opinion. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, 10,000%. I actually have a lot of thoughts on the game against the Dolphins, but more importantly, probably the most underappreciated thing with the Chiefs that people don't realize is how fucking amazing their defense is, right? Everyone talks about their offense, and rightly so. It's hard, you know, to miss that. But their defense by far is absolutely incredible. There's like maybe a little bit of like a glitch in their like run defense, but they're above average in pass defense, run defense, plays. They get off the field quickly. They give Patty Mahomes all the time and opportunities in the world. I honestly think that once we get into playoff time, you're going to see them shine once again. And I think it's not even going to be fair to everybody else who's clearly has a ton more warts as an organization, as a team, than the Chiefs do. So
it's funny you say that because Ethan thinks Spagnuolo is a one-trick pony and thinks that he's just a flash in a pan, right?
I do. I think Spagnuolo had his time in New York, but I think I don't know. I just don't think he's that good anymore, the defensive coordinator. But I think the players are amazing on that team, and it almost makes up for his crazy. Some of his play calls are just silly at this point to me. I don't know. When I watch the defense, like, why are they there? But they've got some studs. Like they've got some studs. That's what it comes
I just love it when someone else points out that Spagnuolo is smarter than you think he is. That's all.
Oh no! If there's anyone who likes to tell me I'm wrong, it's this guy Axel. Let me tell you.
I love Spags. Yeah, I mean we've had a lot of text battles, you and I. So most importantly,
we'll get to your Giants soon, Clax. Don't you worry. They're coming up next. But Let's talk about this Chiefs Dolphins. 7 points going to the Dolphins at home with a 50.5 over under. So do you see this, Axel, as Chiefs covering and rolling with this one, or do you think it's going to be a close game, possibly upset?
So let's go through this, right? So Dolphins have won 7 of their last 8 games. Brian Flores is amazing. He's going to get these guys hyped up. They're at home. There's a lot of talk in the news about the Chiefs not being as good because they're not even like blowing teams out by 40 anymore, which I find hilarious. We just talked about their defense. After everything that I just mentioned, I'm still going to take the Chiefs, giving 7. Here's why: is because at the end of the day, you got Tua back there, who hasn't really been, shining as bright as people thought he'd be. And then on top of that, the defense is so good, they're going to confuse them up. I think the lights are going to be a little too bright for a young team like Miami. You got all the experience in the world with the Chiefs, know how to handle a big game. And honestly, a lot of people are talking smack about the Chiefs, so I think they have even more chip on their shoulder going into a big game like this.
I think Andy Reid's having fun calling plays with these guys out there. Clax, you think the Chiefs are going to cover this, or are we going to be a close game?
The Dolphins have a streak going, not sure what it is, but of however many games with a defensive turnover. And I think it might even be defensive points. More than the turnover, might even be points off of. And that streak's going to end this week. And because it's a streak, that's what it is. And I think the Chiefs are good. There's one thing that everybody forgets about. They're the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah,
they weren't supposed to do anything this year. They have overachieved big time. They could lose out and they will have had a successful season, all things considered. And they're not going to lose out. So Chiefs and the over.
I mean, it's funny. We're 12 games in, and Patrick Mahomes has about 150 yards, under 4,000 already for the season.
Yeah.
So he's going to be in that 5,500 range probably by the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
The league leader in receiving is Hill. And, second is Travis Kelce, the tight end, who has 82 receptions already this year with another 4 games still to play. So he's going to get himself a good 100 and something plus like 1,500 yards. To me, Chiefs blow them out over because I do think the Dolphins with Tua will put up a little bit of points. But Tua is going to be intimidated by Mahomes. I think it's not going to be even close.
All day.
It's not going to be close.
All day.
The next game is a fun one I want to talk about. I got the New York Football Giants hosting the Arizona Cardinals, where I live. I hear a lot of local Cardinals talking. Boy, 3 weeks ago, they were talking Super Bowl with this team out here. Let me tell you. Now, it's so depressing. They're like, we're not going to make the playoffs. Kyler Murray must be hurt. Blah, blah, blah. The Giants are going to come in and whoop us. And I don't know. 3 points going to the Giants at home, 45 over under. Both teams could be 6 and 7 at the end of this week if the Giants win. Axel, you used to live in New York back in the day.
I got a huge Giants tattoo on my leg. I love everything Giants. So it's funny. I have Arizona getting 2, but regardless, so I can't believe I'm doing this, but I have to kind of stay true to what I know and love. Is I have to go with Arizona on this one. Here's why, right? So I get that the Cardinals are coming off of 3 straight losses. I get all that. The Giants defense has been playing absolutely incredible. But the thing that keep in mind is they're still dinged up. We don't even know who's playing quarterback this week.
They said Danny Dimes is cleared. They just announced it today, but we'll see if he actually plays.
So if he plays, I'm going to double down on Arizona taking this one because I feel like Danny Dimes is going to come in a little overhyped. The team's playing great. I think he, everything that you read and hear, he really wanted to be involved in last week's game. I think that, as good as the Giants have been.
So you're saying they're in better shape with Colt McCoy than
He's saying they're in better shape without an overhyped Danny Dimes.
Exactly, and I think that the Arizona defense has been playing okay, and I think Kyler Murray is just way too athletic, and I don't think we have the athletes back there to handle a guy like that. And honestly, I think D Hop's going to have himself a day. especially if we can't get to the quarterback, which, it's I get that our sacks are up and Leonard Williams just coming off an NFC Defensive Player of the Week honors, but we don't have any true pass rushers, right? It's been kind of like a pass rush by committee, and that could only go for so long. I think right now we're the way the Giants are winning is by not making mistakes, but they're known to make a shit ton of mistakes. So it's sooner or later we're going to revert back to who we are. So I'm just waiting for that.
Clax, you know what? I agree. I agree with what he's saying, and it kind of reminds me of John's fantasy team. Like they're just going to run out at some point. Like the Giants have been kind of lucky, like that. Like their defense was great against Seattle. Seattle had a bad game against them. They kind of worked together to give the Giants a win. Clax, what do you think about this one? I know you were on the Cardinals.
Did the Rams just score a touchdown or something on defense? They did, didn't they?
I hope so.
They did.
Let's go fantasy team.
They did. DK. There's all this hype now because the Giants beat the Seahawks, which was of course was a big deal. But DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, D-Hop is a completely different story. And the Giants, only a couple teams have an answer for that. The Rams are one of them. We saw what happened last week. But the Giants defense is not the Rams defense. And, you made a lot of good points about the Giants linebackers. And they really don't have any real game changers. And
Blake Martinez is great, but he's not.
He is, but he's not a game changer. Yeah. To answer Kyler, it's not going to happen. D-Hop's going to have a huge game. I think the line is beyond appropriate because the Cardinals are going to win by a field goal. Sure. And it's going to be the Cardinals in the under.
Cardinals in the under. I'm going to take the Cardinals and the over. I think for all the reasons you guys both said, I think the Giants they're good in their division. They're compared to those teams, they're good. But when it comes to the rest of the league, they're not that good. It's the same thing for the Washington football team, the same thing for the Cowboys and Eagles. You're just not that good when you play other teams. And I think it's going to be a pretty big win for the Cardinals. I think they're going to win by like 20. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, people got to remember, like, it's Wayne Gallman. You know what I mean? Like,
I like Wayne Gallman. I'm okay with
Wayne Gallman. Yes, I'm not going to lie to you. There was a couple of runs where the announcers even like called it out. They were like, "Oh, can you look at him? He just like waits that half a second, then bursts. He's so patient." That wasn't there in the last couple of years. And even with that, it's still Wayne Gallman, right? So let's just make sure we remember that.
It is Wayne Gallman. That's a good point. And let's not forget who's on the other side: Kenyon Drake and Edmonds. And Drake might not even play this week, they're saying. So we'll see. I think the Cardinals are going to smoke him, though. You know what team I think is really overrated? Both of these next two teams, the Buccaneers versus the Vikings. Two overrated teams, 6.5 going to the Vikings on the road. It's a lot of points, Clax.
It's a lot of points, but I mean, I have feelings on this game.
Okay.
This is a must win for both teams, but this is a real must win for Tom Brady. It's a real must win for anybody that's new to that Patriots offense. That's part of the Bucks offense. And I don't care that it's 6.5 points. I think they'll cover it. And it's Tampa Bay in the over. And I'm pretty adamant about this one. I feel like they're going to cover this convincingly. The Vikings are trash. They're the best 6-6 team in football. And the Bucks are coming off a bye on top of it.
They're the best 6-6 or the worst 6-6?
The worst 6-6. Did I say best?
You did, and I didn't believe that at all.
I meant worst. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is this Antonio Brown's coming out party, Aksel?
No, he's not going to have a coming out party. You didn't even ask me that, and I'm going to answer it for you. He's not going to have a coming out party this year.
I knew your answer, and that wasn't your answer at the beginning of the year, by the way, Mr.
No, it wasn't.
I believe you had 3 clack attacks begging for Antonio Brown to get on a team, and now that he is, and he's representing my fantasy team as well, you just seem to have a lot of hatred towards the man. He's going to get there. He's going to be dancing this week. You're going to see some gyrating of the hips. That's what I predict this week. What do you think?
That'd be great if he does that and then just immediately gets suspended. Like, here we go again.
I'm telling you, once he does, the mojo is going to roll for that team. That's what they're waiting for.
I'll make this one really, really quickly. I'm taking Tampa Bay, giving 6.5, coming off back-to-back losses. Tom's pissed. That team's probably, getting it all together, especially with Tom yelling at him. And honestly, I think they also have some additional urgency that no one's really talking about is, dude, the Saints are fucking murdering it, right? What do they win? I don't know how many in a row they've won.
9.
And they're running away with the division.
This is a must win.
This is a must. Like, you got to make. Can you imagine that this team not making the playoffs?
Well, that's what Bruce Arians came out.
That's what I'm saying.
If they lose this game, they're tied with the Vikings, and then that's not good because they'll lose the tiebreaker because they lost to them. So they'll actually be below the tie. They'll be below the Vikings.
Can you imagine?
Didn't the Vikings open up 0-5? Now they could possibly have a tiebreaker over the Bucks.
That's crazy. Axel, is Bruce Arians on the hot seat?
No,
yes.
I don't
I
think
say
so.
yes.
I don't
Has
think
to
so.
be. You don't think so?
I don't think so. Tom's there for another year.
If Tom says, I want a new coach my last year here, is Brady, is he on the hot seat?
You know what? That's hard to say. I can see it going both ways. I can see the owner saying, okay, well, we got to make this happen to keep this guy happy and hopefully productive, and productivity means revenue, right? So, but in the same time, if the owner believes in Arians long-term, because Tom's done after this.
Arians has no long-term for anything. He's the second oldest coach in the league.
I never said that wasn't the case. I'm just asking, like, maybe the ownership feels that way. You never know.
But what happened with Antonio Brown? Arians like, no way is he ever coming on my team. Brady says, I want him. Next day, he's on the Bucks.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, yeah, I could see them going just with whatever Tom wants to do moving forward, because I feel like Arians, that old school type of, like, I'm just going to, like, curse you guys out until, like, I get my way.
His offense doesn't fit Brady at all. His run and gun and throw it deep and lots of interceptions is okay. Like Jameis last year, that was fine for him. Like, but here, this is what I think is going to happen. Here's a little hot take for you. What if Josh McDaniels becomes the head coach next year?
Could be.
What if he says, I want my old offensive coordinator to run that offense with all these weapons, like we did with Randy Moss, and let's run it that way. Dink and dunk and have one or two guys running deep all the time.
I mean, this would be the perfect year to do that. I mean, the Patriots are no longer the Patriots, right? I mean, I do think that also next year they're going to have an infusion of talent that most teams don't have with all the COVID guys that decided to bounce for this year. So I think the team itself is going to get better. But I think I could totally see McDaniels just saying, like, hey, it's been fun. I've been here for a long fucking time. Let's keep it moving.
Even if it's for just a couple years, just ride out Brady for a couple years and just roll with it. So that's something I've been thinking. I got the Bucks. I got the over as well. I hate Kirk Cousins, man. I really do. Like he's just so overrated, and he'll put up some garbage second half points when they're down by 21, but no.
Not only is he overrated, but I feel like I hate him because, like, he's been so good at cashing in on all these fucking contracts.
Yeah.
I'm just, like, super jealous. I'm like, why this motherfucker? Like, he gets franchise tag, and then all of a sudden, a guaranteed contract like never seen before. That, what was it, 3 year, $90 million or something like that?
Yep.
Like, it was an obnoxious contract where everyone was like, what a fucking dumb move, But and then he just continuously plays like shit.
He continues a little bit under average. That's him, mediocre.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Where would you rank him in the echelon of quarterbacks? Is he like 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25, 25 to 30?
Wow. I'm going to without taking too long to answer the question, I'm going to probably go with like 20 to 25.
Absolutely. That's where you start. That's my opinion. He could drop below, but then you have like the guys from like the Broncos and like those kind of scrubs. So maybe he's not quite that scrubby, but like he's 20 to 25 at best. Like that's the best you're giving him. And people,
I could see him definitely being like that 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, like right behind Baker Mayfield.
Exactly.
No, Baker Mayfield. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield and Axel, like what you've been busy. They're gonna Monday night.
No, it's a Monday night game, dude.
Yeah, we'll get there, I guess. But I'm itching to talk about the. Okay,
I know you are.
All right. Let's go to Axel's hometown team, Carolina Panthers, giving 3 to the Broncos. 45.5. Axel, this is your boys. What do you think? People are trying to call in to hear what you want to say, and I'm not letting them right now. What do you think?
I'm going to go. I actually think this is a home run for the Panthers. So I'm going to go Panthers giving 3. Honestly, the Broncos offense is terrible. And I'm going to call this out too. I think the Panthers are so much better than their record of 4-8. So if you actually take a look at their 8 losses, 4 of them were actually 4 points or less. So
why do they play better without McCaffrey?
I don't think they play better or they're playing better without McCaffrey. I think whenever you have that superstar issue of any superstar going down, the whole team just gets really fired up and they're like, yo, now we gotta try a little bit harder. We gotta play a little bit better. And, and at the end of the day, that is your role. You have to. And more importantly, that's a potential like long-term paycheck right there. That's giving opportunities like Mike Davis, opportunity he's never had before, right? It's like I could actually cash in here and maybe get 1 or 2 more contracts after this, whether it's here or somewhere else. You got to factor that in. This is their job, right? And every single game is a potential highlight film for a future contract. So when guys get an opportunity, they'll step up and play better for a couple of weeks.
Like the Cleveland Browns without Odell?
I've been so let me I know we've fought about this a number of times, but wide receiver, statistically speaking, is hands down the most overrated position in all of football.
You've been telling me this for years.
So I think that if you had a really good quarterback with average wide receivers, you can win championships if the team is put together properly. I'm talking about defense, offensive line. But if you have high paid wide receiver getting like whatever millions of dollars per year, where you can't pay an offensive line, defensive line, whatever it is, it's never going to work out. And it's just statistically, no one could ever show me where the team was built in that way, where the diva wide receivers are getting paid a ridiculous amount of money, and then the team consistently wins Super Bowls. No one could ever show me that, or even more than one fluke Super Bowl.
No, you told me that. I've looked into it, and you are 100% right. It almost goes with running backs as well, to be honest.
1,000%. Same thing with running backs. It's the easiest position to replace on the field, right? I mean, let's look at my boy Wayne Gallman. Okay, so let's talk about Wayne Gallman, who's looking honestly better than Saquon ever did. Right? He can't catch the ball like he did. Like I'm a Giants. Trust me. I want Saquon to be great, but the moment that they drafted him at 2, I was like, what have we done? And it's a huge mistake on Dave Gettleman's part. I understand what he was trying to do. He's trying to bring excitement back. It doesn't work that way, but we'll get to that, I guess. But yes, running backs is incredibly overrated. That's why honestly teams are going with the 2-3 running back approach. I mean, look what they're doing in San Francisco, what they've done the last couple of years, and that's the first example off the top of my head. Long story short,
the Rams are doing the same thing.
Exactly.
3 running backs.
I mean, the Patriots have been doing it forever.
Yep. The Jets are going with the 0 running back formation. That's working out pretty well for them so far this year.
Really well.
Yeah, they've got none. What about this Titans Jaguars? Is 8-4 Titans? Like, are they the most overrated 8-4 team? Like, they just don't seem like they're that good. 7.5 points going to the 1-11 Jaguars. 52.5. Clax, this game looks like it bores you just thinking about it.
It does. You see me yawn? That's how I feel about it.
Are they Titans gonna get more than a touchdown win?
Yeah, they are. They're coming off a pretty disparaging loss.
To whom?
So I'm not sure. I don't really remember who it was.
The Brown.
No. It definitely wasn't them. But yeah, it was a pretty disparaging loss to some team that overperformed last week. And and I'll take the over.
What about you, Axel?
I'm going to take the Titans on this one. So, but in the same time, I feel like this is like one of those like trap spread games where everyone's kind of like moving in one direction. I mean, like, you got
who's the quarterback of the Jaguars this week? Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'd taken the Titans.
I mean, yeah, that's a great point. I mean, but at the same time, Jags have been playing hard. They've only been losing by, a few points the last couple of weeks, and to decent teams. I mean, the Browns, right? They're pretty good, I hear. The Vikings, and I think that they lost by 4 to the Packers a few weeks ago as well. So I
They're
mean, that's not
covering
bad.
spreads. They're covering spreads is what they're doing.
They're covering spreads, and that's the whole name of the show, isn't it? Is like who's
Yeah.
gonna actually cover their spread.
Yeah. So
Mike Glennon, that's who's going to not cover the spread in this game.
Mike Glennon is still right. That guy still has a contract somehow, somewhat. Amazing. Guys that can't get jobs in the NFL, but Mike Glennon still has a job, and Colt McCoy still has a job in the NFL. I don't
Colt
get
McCoy's a stud.
Yeah. I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. I got the Titans.
Wait,
and I got the under.
You know who was a stud in that game that no one's actually talking about is Alfred Morris. My man had, you look this way, you look that way. Look, there he is again. Fucking Alfred Morris. He just won't go away. I mean, scoring touchdowns, making it happen. Two touchdowns.
We are on a team formerly known as the Washington football team that had an old name back in the day.
Yeah.
The same Alfred Morris.
I still call them the Redskins.
They don't even deserve to be called anything. That team shouldn't even be in the NFL anymore. Let's move them to Nashville and call it a day.
You want to hear something crazy? Obviously, your girls are a little bit older, but my son's 6, and I was like, he's like, who's playing? I'm like, the Redskins. He goes, they're not called the Redskins anymore.
That's good. Good for him. That's a cultured child. That's good parenting right there.
I was like, God, here we go.
Dude, my wife said a couple of weeks ago, she's like, who's playing? I was like, I don't even remember who they were playing. I was like, let's just for argument's sake say it was the Steelers. Like the Steelers and the football team. She's like, no, but who's playing? I'm like, the Steelers and the football team. She's like, all right, whatever. I was like, what? She was like, well, if you don't want to tell me. I was like I'm doing who's on first. And I was like,
yeah.
No, well, the Redskins. She's like, that's fucking stupid. That's really what they're called. That's what they're called.
They actually put out there recently that they may make that permanent.
Yeah. They announced that they're waiting at least 2 years before they choose a new name.
Oh.
Like what?
It would be cool if they just kept changing their name every 2 years.
I mean, that's fine too. Like for merchandise sales, like we can't sell anything right now. Is it just gonna say Washington football team on the shirts? Like, are they even selling merch?
I don't know.
It makes no sense from a PR standpoint. Make up any name you want and just call it something.
Yeah, but soccer teams do that all the time.
Yeah, but they're clubs. They're kind of different. I don't know.
But what's the difference between a club and a team?
Class.
Come on. Now you're reaching.
That's Euro class right there. Not Euro trash. That's a Euro class.
Wow.
What about a team I don't like, the Las Vegas Raiders, getting 3 points against a quarterback I don't like, Phillip Rivers and the Colts. Colts are 8-4. I think they're a good 8-4 team, unlike the Titans. But I don't get how they're 8-4 because they like Phillip Rivers just makes me feel like they shouldn't be. Axel, are they for real 8-4? The Colts? They gonna smoke the Raiders like I think they are?
No, they're a fake 8-4. I'm gonna take the Raiders on this one. This is actually gonna be my upset special, if we want to call it that. I think this is a lock. Actually, that's how I'm looking at this. I think the Raiders have an awesome run game. I think even though the Colts have a good defense, I don't think they're going to be able to stop the running game. They may control, but the Raiders are going to control the clock. I think Derek Carr is going to. They're in a good position. They're 7-5, right? So they know who's coming to town. He's going to probably just be really hyper focused on not making mistakes. And Phillip Rivers is the king of dumb ass mistakes. And I think when the Raiders are controlling the field, controlling the clock, Phillip Rivers is going to get out and try to make things happen a little bit quicker than he should. He's going to make a little bit of a mistake or two. And honestly, I'm going to, okay, you want to hear another little conspiracy theory of mine in this game, is I also think that the Colts are going to get to town maybe a day or two early and party their fucking ass off in Vegas. So when it's game time, it's not going to be that important for them.
Ooh, Clax, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know how you can call a guy that has 9 kids the king of mistakes. I beg to differ on a lot of things I just heard. Phillip Rivers is I hate him. I hate the Colts. I don't think
you're
they're going to
go against it. Things that I was saying.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna have the opportunity to go down there and party. Here's the facts. The
Philip Rivers
Raiders.
parties?
The Raiders. No, he
It's
doesn't.
not just Philip, but it's not just Philip Rivers, guys. There's a lot of other fucking.
He
people.
doesn't, and COVID and everything else, and that never stopped anybody from partying in Vegas. And I get that, but here's the thing: the Raiders lost to the Jets last week, and don't tell me that the Raiders won because they didn't win. They actually lost to the Jets last week. I lost all respect for them altogether. So I'm gonna take the Colts, and I'm gonna take the over because it's just because why not? Because I flipped a coin and it came up heads.
Oh, okay. So this is crazy because after Axel finished talking, I was like, "Yep."
No, you know what? No, you know what? I have more faith in the Colts defense. I'm gonna take the Colts in the under.
When Axel was done talking, I was like, "Yep, I'm taking the Raiders. Yep, definitely taking the Raiders." Then when you were done talking, I was like, "Yep, they lost to the Jets. I can't take the Raiders. They lost to the Jets. I can't take the Raiders."
But you got to keep in mind, just because they had a bad game last week doesn't make them a bad team.
It's very true.
The Raiders only look good when they play the Chiefs. I feel like that's the only time they look good.
It's the only 2 times they've looked good this year.
I'm going to take the Colts and I'm going to take the under. I can't bet on Carr. I know Waller had a magical game last week. He's not going to do that again this week because he's on John's fantasy team and he's playing me in the playoffs. So that's just not going to happen for him. So with that being said and knowing that, I think Jacobs will have a decent running game. But Phil, the main problem with choosing the Colts in this game is that Philip Rivers plays up or down to the quarterback he plays against. When he goes against like the Packers, he'll have a shootout with Aaron Rodgers. He plays against someone like Carr, he'll throw 3 interceptions. Like that's
right.
God damn, I don't know who to pick in this game. I'm not going to bet on this game, but I'll put my money on. I'll put my name on the Colts. I'm not touching this game. This is the game I don't touch this week. I'll tell you that much. You know what game I would touch this week? Seahawks Jets. Seahawks Jets. 13.5 going to the Jets with a 47 over under. Lock of the week to me. What do you think, Clax?
Is there a point? Do we need to talk about it? I don't know if we need to talk about the Seahawks and the over.
Do you Axel, or where are you on this?
Seahawks over. Keep it moving.
All right. Yeah. It's a sweep, folks. It's a sweep. How about this one? Probably a sweep as well. Packers 7.5 going to the Lions on the road. No more Matt Patricia. 55 over under, which seems very high. Clax, you got 7.5 being covered by the Packers in this one?
It's that high because it's in Detroit. But that is high. But I have a new philosophy on when these spreads are this high this year, and I've been wrong about it every time.
Keep going up. Keep saying the over when it's this high. That's what I've learned.
That's what I'm going with. So Green Bay and the over. Green Bay just shocked me all like the last 2 months. Every time I think they're gonna go left, they go right. Every time I think they're gonna zig, they're gonna zag. But the Lions are garbage and Patricia's gone, and it's they got shut out by the Panthers. So
Axel,
I'm also going to do Green Bay on this one with the over. It's going to be, I was going back and forth with the over under honestly, and I really want to say under, but I have a feeling that it's just going to be a really, really ugly shootout, if you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be one of those games and you're just like, how the hell did that happen? How did that happen? Or like, why are like no one can get to the quarterback? Or there's going to be penalties in the end zone. We're going to get those like bullshit 1 yard little like jump in touchdowns all left and right. I just think it's just going to be one of those games where you're just like, all right. But
42-28. That's what I predict.
I was going to say 48-21. Yeah, same thing.
That's what I see this game, and I'm with you guys. Packers in the over, and you're right. It is a huge high over under, but for some reason, every time Vegas does this, it goes over that number. We've noticed. So like,
I feel like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they probably started this at like 51, and it went up to 55 by this time of the week. We've been watching this happen a lot. Next game is my next lock of the week. Like lock it up. Saints on the road with the Eagles. 6.5 going to the Eagles. Axel, am I crazy? Like, is that, I know it's Taysom Hill, but I mean, 6.5, that defense on the Saints going against the Eagles?
It's in Philly.
Who cares?
I'm taking the Eagles getting 6.5. So here's why. You got a rookie
Jalen
quarterback. Okay, so let me hit you with some knowledge. Is whenever you have a superstar go down, everybody, especially the next game, picks up the slack. And I'm not saying Carson Wentz is a superstar. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that he's a starting quarterback, which is pretty. He's the leader of that team. He goes down. You got this rookie kid coming in that could only do 2 or 3 things. You don't think the team understands that. You don't think that everyone's like, holy shit, we got to step our game up. And let me just say this too. Everyone needs to get off the fucking Taysom Hill bandwagon, okay? Just because he had a couple of good games, he's also not fucking special. And he's sooner or later, it may take 5, 6, 7 starts. I don't care, but everyone's going to figure him out. They're going to, they're going to adjust their defenses.
4.
And see you later. And honestly, I may call it. This may be the game where they figure him out.
Is he getting better and better every game, Taysom Hill? Look at the stats. Look at the wins. Every game he's getting better. So yes, he might get figured out, but it's not going to be this year.
Why not?
Next year, sure.
Just because he's getting better and better in like a very small sample size doesn't really mean anything.
Well, right? He's getting weapons. He's learning how to use Michael Thomas now. Michael Thomas had 100 yards last week, or close to it. Like he's learning how to use Kamara. He's learned, and he can run, and he's got a cannon. And you know what? He's Tebow like on the juice. Like this is what I don't know, man. I think this guy makes the team better than Breeze. I'll be very honest.
If he was that amazing of a quarterback, he would have already been in these games already, or someone.
Well, they gave him a big contract. I mean, they paid him $11 million to be the backup.
Yeah, but I think that was more. Yeah, obviously they have faith in him, but once again, it's not like the Saints are the best team in the world when it comes to cap space. I think they're always, every single year, they're like struggling to figure out how they could complete that roster. So look, I'm just saying that I don't think he's that special. I think he's overrated. I'm not saying he's not good. I just think that he's overrated.
Are the Saints the second best team in the league?
Are the Saints the second best team in the league? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say the Packers are the second best team in the league.
All right. See, I think the Saints with that defense and 9 wins in a row with a backup quarterback, second best team in the league.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a backup quarterback, though. You got to factor that in.
That hasn't lost. I love it. Clax, you want to talk about your boy Taysom Hill?
Sure. He's not my boy anymore. That's what I could tell you about that. And I agree with a fair amount of the things I just heard. And good thing you're sitting down, E, because what is it, 6.5? Eagles plus 6.5 over 43. Yeah, that's I don't like it. I love it. And I think that the Eagles might even win the game outright.
Yeah, I agree.
What year is this?
Yep. Dude, Taysom Hill scored 2 touchdowns a game 3 weeks in a row. Whoop-de-damn do.
Yeah, but then you have Kamara that scores 2 or 3 touchdowns too. That equals 35 points.
Thrilled. Now you know why I'm taking the over.
Yeah. I just want to know who's scoring for the Eagles.
Everybody. I don't know. I don't care, dude.
Expect Miles Sanders to have a good game.
Jalen Hurts. Yeah, Miles said, dude, that offense is going to be completely different team.
Jalen Hurts is not that good, fellas.
It's going to be a completely different team.
I never said Jalen Hurts is good. I'm saying
he's a smart. He's a smart this game. I get what
you're saying. He's a smart.
It's a one-game conversation.
It's like the coach gets fired, the team comes out the next game and wins one for the gift.
And I am saying the same thing. I'm not saying the Eagles are going to win out with Jalen Hurts. I'm saying they could win this game outright.
I think the Saints are elite. I think that's
this is a trap game. If you want to put money on this. The game this week, this was a trap game.
This is my lock of the week for this, and it's this. I'm the opposite of you guys. Like I feel like 9 wins in a row against a team that's absolute. Okay, here's the thing. The biggest issue Carson Wentz had, other than his decision making, was he had no time because that offensive line is so bad. They're a bottom 5 O-line in the league right now. The Eagles. Okay. So
just imagine if he was as mobile as Jalen Hurts.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So Jalen Hurts is going to help. Because he's going to be able to get out of the pocket. Now it's going to be like he's throwing on the run a lot is what's going to end up happening from the outside. He's not going to be sitting in the pocket. That defense is going to be hunting him. Like Like, I just think that defense is going to
I
come
don't know,
out.
dude. I don't know, dude.
I'll bet you right now.
How many
I'm
donuts?
actually very confident in that.
How many
6-9.
donuts? You want to bet a 6 donuts? I will ship 6 donuts to Carolina if.
I will ship 6 donuts back at you.
Okay, we got a 6 donut bet. I prefer jelly. We have donut bets, and we can't do money bets because then it changes what we're allowed to do on air. But we're allowed to bet donuts. So I did get cashed out on donuts a couple weeks ago. Clax and I have a donut bet this week, don't we, Clax? You want to tell them about it?
Yeah, we do. What was it? I don't even remember.
I'm going to tell you what it is. It's
I do remember. Yeah.
Very, very soon. But let's get to a game in between that first, which is the Falcons and the Chargers. Your boy Herbert, is that still your boy?
That's still my boy.
Okay.
I love that guy.
That's still my boy.
So, Axe, I don't know if you're aware of this, but 2 years ago, I made an executive decision in my life. I wanted to make my life better. As you know, I'm a Mets fan. I don't get to see championships. I'm a Giants fan. In Eli, we trust that. That's all I've had in my life. You know, I was too young for Lawrence Taylor to really appreciate it. And then there's the Knicks and the Rangers, and I don't follow hockey, so the Rangers don't really matter. And then there's the Knicks. Well, after the whole Charles Oakley situation in New York, I became a fan free agent.
Okay.
I decided I'm no longer a Knicks fan after 35 years at that point.
Wow.
I couldn't do it anymore. I didn't want to do it to my children. I just couldn't do it. Like, and it's not that I'll never be a Knicks fan again, but as long as James Dolan is running the show, is probably a small chance that I ever will be. But with that said, in football, Joey Clax decided to become a fan free agent this year from his New York Jets is where I'm going with this. And
I wonder where you were going with that.
Yeah, so he's a fan, and I thought that Herbert and the Chargers were somewhere he might start leaning towards, you know? Like I
was
really
leaning toward it, but being a Chargers fan is almost as bad as being a Jet fan.
It's pretty horrible. So he's not really leaning there yet, but this week they got 2.5 going at home to the Chargers against the Falcons. 49.5 is the over under. I think that's the no-brainer over in this game. They just put up points, both these teams. But Clax, do you have Herbert beating the Falcons? It's going to be a crappy game to me.
It's a crappy game. It's horrible coaching against horrible coaching. It's what used to be a great quarterback against a great rookie quarterback. It's just gross against gross, man. It's just guarantee the over. Do I have to pick the game? I'll take the Chargers just because they're at home. But the Chargers and the over.
Axel?
Yeah, so it's an absolutely gross game. Completely agree. I think both these teams the Falcons need to gut their roster and figure themselves out and start from scratch. They really should have traded Julio when, they could have got a lot more for him. I still think that they could have done it this year. Never happened. I think that Matty Ice is overrated. He's terrible. They need to send him somewhere. Start fresh, redo the offensive line. It's terrible. Create a running game. Long story short, I'm going with the Chargers. They had a terrible game last week. They've been on the up and up. And I think coming home, Herbert's going to be pissed. I think he's trying to prove something, even though that's not his demeanor to be outspoken. I honestly love where the Chargers are going. I think they need a lot of work too, but good news is they have a absolutely stud of a quarterback under a rookie deal for the next 4 more years. So I think they're going to be in good shape.
They need to fire their head coach is the first thing they need to do.
God, yeah.
Needs to go.
I feel like they should have done that last week. I don't know why they didn't. If they did that last week, I think, they may have had an outside shot of actually making the playoffs.
Some of the worst clock management you'll ever see by a coaching staff.
Yeah, they're bad. But speaking of bad, I got the Chargers and the over in that one as well. But speaking of bad clock management, can we talk about one of my least, if I think one of the worst head coaches? You might not agree with this, Axel, because guys on the show don't agree, but Riverboat Ron Rivera and the Washington football team going against the 49ers. And I think Rivera is such a bad coach. With that being said, he's got those boys playing hard right now, so I sound like a hypocrite. I just don't know what to think about this game. 49ers, I think, are going to beat them, but Nick Mullins is tough to bet on him. Axel, what do you think? 3 points going to the Washington football team.
Oh, actually, Nick Mullins hasn't been playing terrible. I mean, I just think that the Redskins, so Riverboat Ron, do I like him? I don't mind.
Oh, yeah, you can talk about it from your Carolina days.
I think he used to be next door neighbors with my boss, actually. So he's supposedly like a super nice guy. He's a player's coach. He's a defensive first guy. But I do agree that I think in today's day and age, in terms of like where the offenses are going, he's incredibly overrated. I think he's going to have a hard time with that. If you just need a good people manager, I think he's perfect. But with that roster where they're going, I think the defense is starting to step up a little bit, which I'm actually surprised it's taken this long because they have 4 first rounders on that defensive line. I mean, you got to make some plays, and they're slowly starting to make it. Alex Smith, good comeback story. That's all well and good.
Did you watch his E60?
Yeah, I did. It was absolutely gross.
Did you think there was any chance he was going to play this year?
I can't believe he's alive, let alone playing football, right?
I lost a donut bet, bro. I lost it at the beginning of the season. I said there's a 0% chance the guy, not only does he not start, he's not touching the football field. He's not even wearing a jersey. I was wrong.
But, I mean, Nick Mullins has been playing okay, but once again, this is more about the spread than anything. The 49ers defense has been playing good, decent at least, and their running game's been, making things happen to the best of their ability. I'm going to go with the 49ers, giving 3.
And 43 over under. What do you think?
I'm going to go ahead and take the over on that one.
Clax, what do you think? You got the Niners?
I think the game is going to push when the Niners win by a field goal and the under, and it's going to be a disgusting game to watch, and not in an awesome defensive way, in a gross, this is a 49ers Washington football game in 2020. And, as impressed as you could be with Washington as of late, the Niners are healthy again, finally. And that defense is healthy again, finally. And Washington is not going to be able to do anything on the offensive side of the ball. And I don't have any faith in Nick Mullins or that San Francisco offense either. But so I think it's going to push. I'll take the Niners and the under, but it's going to push at that 3 when the Niners win by a field goal.
Want the over under? He's like, I'll just take the push. It's like playing roulette,
I'll take green. I'll take green 00 and the under.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. I'm going to take the Niners in the under. I think Washington is just not that good when they leave their division. I just think it's that simple. Like the Niners defense is going to shut them down. It's going to be a 21-17 type of game, 21-14, low scoring at best. I don't even want to watch the game. It's ugly. The next game, though, is probably the game of the week, the Sunday night football game. Bills hosting the Steelers. 2 points going to the 11-1 Steelers.
Probably the game of the week.
Probably.
It is the game of the week.
There's a Monday night game that might be exciting, but we'll say probably the game of the week. Aksel, what do you think? Bill's going to roll over the Steelers, or are the Steelers going to come back? What's happening here?
I'm going Bills all day with this one. I mean, they're playing absolutely great. I think the Steelers are being exposed. They have been the last couple of weeks, let alone, I mean, obviously not just last week's loss. I think they're being exposed. I think they're a little overrated. They'll still win out. They'll put up a good effort in the playoffs, but once again, I don't think they're going to go far. I think they've been, lucky a little bit where other people are getting injured. I mean, the Giants almost beat them in like week 1. So, that being said, Bills are on fire. Their defense is ridiculous. They're, playing like they're pissed off at the world every single week. I think, in some ways, they've lost games that they shouldn't, but regardless, I think I'm going to take the Bills on this one.
Clax, you going with John's Bills Mafia?
I'm going with the Mafia and the over, man. AFC East champion Buffalo Bills. They're the hot hand right now. And the Steelers, as much as easy as it would be to say that the Steelers are going to play pissed off, no, they're not.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not struggling. Their offense is struggling. Big Ben is fading.
It was the least amount of rush yards since the merger in that last game that they played.
I didn't know that, but
they had 22 rush yards against Washington.
And that's a team they should be able to do a little bit more with. I got the Bills and I got the under in this game. I think both defenses are coming, but the Bills are better right now. I hate saying it, and I'll only say it because John's not here today. Man, the Bills are good. It sucks. I hate it. They're gonna not do it in the playoffs, but they're good. No. But they're good. Good regular season team.
This is what the Bills do.
Yeah. I want them to be really, really good just to lose and choke it in the first round. I know a lady who'll be real happy if that happens. And then last but not least, Cleveland Browns hosting the Baltimore Ravens. The Cleveland Browns are getting 2.5 points.
Hold on. Let me write down my last lock. There it is.
You remember the bet now?
Oh, I remember the bet. The bet is a dozen donuts that the Ravens win with no spread. Was that it? Was that the bet?
There was no spread even involved. That you took the Ravens and I took the Browns.
Yeah.
And I know Lamar's back. Axel, you think I'm crazy probably, but I've had the Browns as my number 5 team in football for 2 weeks in a row now. And they just keep winning.
And I will film whatever bumpers you want.
Well, the Clacks will have to admit that they are now a top 5 team if they're 10-3.
Oh, I'll admit that they're a top 5 team.
I mean, Stefanski's got them playing incredibly well, right? It's kind of cool to kind of take all the onus off of Baker's shoulders and just kind of like hyper focus on the run game and just make things simple. I don't know why it took so long to get that right, but I'm going to go with Baltimore on this one, though. Regardless, I think Baker will revert back to being Baker, right? I still think that, he hasn't shown anything consistent to say otherwise, that he won't make mistakes where he's going to want to try to outshine and outperform Lamar, because I still think he's an egotistical asshole. I mean, most quarterbacks are. So that being said, he's not going to make it about the team. He's going to try to, put a little too much on the ball and get a little overexcited to make some plays. And I think it's going to bite him in the ass. And the Ravens are, I think this may be an absolute bloodbath.
Clacks.
That's why the Browns are, top 12, top 15 team. You know what I mean? Ravens and the over. It's just there's been so many points going up in these Browns games off of turnovers, off of just everything. And like you said, at the end of it, I think the Ravens are just going to go ape shit. I think worst case, it's a bloodbath, and the Ravens score 45 points on their own.
Question for you guys so far this season: who's having a better season, Baker Mayfield or Lamar Jackson?
Oh my God, Baker Mayfield's so good. Lamar Jackson's having an awful year. I don't want to talk about Baker Mayfield's year. Lamar Jackson is having the biggest sophomore slump you could possibly have after winning the MVP.
Great. And Baker, what they've changed, the way this team is built now is, like Axel said, it's kind of built the way you build for championships. You build a great defense, starting with your defensive line and work your way out. So they got that. They keep the other team under 17 points a game, basically, every game now. They built it with a decent offensive line, pretty solid. Not great, but pretty solid. I mean, if you watch that running game, it's because of that offensive line, and then you got 2 studs. And Baker Mayfield is told, don't go win the game. Just don't lose the game for us now. That's his new way of playing, is don't lose the game. And because of the running game, he's getting a lot of touchdowns because people are open, because the running game is setting it up for him. And I think, like you said, the head coach is the biggest difference maker. Baker's this is his 3rd or 4th head coach since being in the NFL. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. And now he's had one for a full season that's good, and he's getting better and better and better. And you know what? It's weird that they're better without Odell, but they're obviously better without Odell.
Can we just go backwards?
Sure.
The Browns defense gave up 35 to the Titans.
Yes, but let's talk about that game. Can we talk about that, though?
No, they gave up 25 to the Jaguars. They gave up 17 to the Eagles, 7 to the Texans, 16 to the Raiders, 34 to the Bengals, 38 to the Steelers, 23 to the Colts, 38 to the Cowboys.
They had a lot of injuries in the beginning. I'm not trying to make excuses, but yeah, I mean, that's why they're not a top 5 team. I completely agree with Class.
Thank you.
Well, that's what they were, but now at the beginning of the year they weren't, but now they are, because
they beat the Ravens. They're a top 5 team. They have not been a top 5 team.
I'm with you. You know what? If they played Pittsburgh this week, I'd take them over Pittsburgh. I really would. I don't think Pittsburgh's like Axel was saying.
If they stretch this record to 10-3 by beating the Ravens, I will call them a top 5 team, because they probably will be.
Okay.
I mean, if you take a look at Baker's stats, it's pretty interesting, because yes, like he's not throwing that much. Like the emphasis is on the run game. But if you take a look at his stats, he's thrown 21 touchdowns. That's 13th best in the league, with 7 interceptions. Like
that's
he's
great.
Incredible. It's an awesome year. Plus, he's averaging 200 yards per game passing. Let that marinate for a second.
Well, that's low.
It's not like, it's not like Patty Mahomes. Patty Mahomes is, but I mean, 31 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but 317 yards per game, right? Pretty crazy to like
Yeah.
kind of break that down. I mean, even like Russell Wilson, he's averaging 290 yards per game,
Yeah.
thrown for 11 interceptions and 32 touchdowns.
Hey, how many games has it been since Baker threw an interception?
I don't know. I gotta
I
look
can
through
tell
the
you.
stats.
He hasn't thrown an interception in 6 games in a row.
Wow.
That's a big stat. Like
That's a huge stat.
Not that he's not losing. Baker's not. He's not Patty Mahomes. He's not Aaron Rodgers. I never said he was. But what he can be is an amazing game manager.
What's been the difference in the Giants winning games? Dime's not turning the ball over. If you
That's
turn the ball over, you lose games, man.
They made him a game manager. He shouldn't be trying to be a gunslinger. He's like Herbert's a gunslinger, and they lose those games. If you notice.
Okay,
you know?
let me put something in perspective. How many weeks has Drew Brees missed this year?
4.
3 or 4.
3 or 4.
3 full weeks and a half of a fourth.
Yeah.
Let's just go 3, right? Just for simple math. So Baker Mayfield has only thrown the ball 28 more times than Drew Brees this year.
Yeah, because of their running game for one.
Exactly.
Like
So
they're setting up a great offense for Baker. Baker shouldn't have an offense built like Kurt Warner or Mahomes. He needs to have an offense that's built for him, which is not to blow the game and put your players in positions like Landry's been amazing lately.
Okay, let me ask you guys one question now. Ready? You are the general manager of the Browns. Are you giving him a big ass contract at the end of this year? Because
Baker Mayfield?
Yeah.
Absolutely yes. Because to me, he's a top 15 quarterback in the league. Closer to that 14 and 15. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's in the like the upper echelon of that. But he's not a bottom 15 quarterback. I could give you 15 worse quarterbacks than Baker Mayfield in this league right now. I can. Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, but is that worth top-notch money?
Yes. If you're a top pack quarterback in the league, you deserve top money. Absolutely.
So because let's just say he's the 14th best quarterback in the league, right?
He's in that Jared Goff, like those type of guys that are like good, but they're not like elite. But you have to pay them because they're much better than what you're going to get if you try to go the next 4 years finding somebody else. That's the way I look at it. Like he's proven that he's good enough that can he win him a Super Bowl? We don't know. But is he good enough to win now 9 out of 12 games? Yes. And you know what? It's not easy to find a Cleveland quarterback that has ever done that before, to be honest.
But didn't Jared Goff get paid like after he had that monster year?
He got paid in the year he was up to get paid, which is what Baker's going to be next year. Same thing with Wentz, same thing with Matt Ryan, same thing with Joe Flacco. All these guys, when it's your year, it's your year. And honestly, Baker Mayfield has done enough to get a contract because if they don't pay him, someone else will.
Yeah, but who cares if someone else will? Because then they're going to take
Do you now go back and try to draft someone and start completely over? Or do you try to build what you created with this guy for the last 4 years?
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, no, that's where I think it's a no doubt, no brainer. Clax, what do you think?
So you're saying that you're like, oh, you don't know what you're going to get. Like, what's the next step? Okay, great. But what if if you have 5 years, what is it, 4 or 5 years of a body of work from this guy, and just because he's having a good game manager, a game manager, like you admitted, so you're saying that's worth top-notch money being a game manager?
If you have the right coach and the right GM to put the right players around this quarterback, absolutely, because he could get better. Because think about it.
Find a cheaper game manager.
What was Russell Wilson after 3 or 4 years of his career? He was a game manager. He was a game manager. Yes, he was. Look at his stats. These stats that Baker's putting up are the same as Russell Wilson's in the same year. Except Russell Wilson had the same coach and the same offensive coordinator. This is different. Look at Drew Brees after 3 years. His stats aren't much better, if not better. But Baker's getting better, and if you give him the right people, I think he's gonna do better than he is. I mean, he's better than a Matt Stafford ever was. And you got to think about like the guys that he's gonna.
How did that work out for the Lions?
Horrible.
Okay.
Horrible. Now the thing is, they already paid Myles Garrett. They're going to have to pay Ward on defense. Their cornerback's going to get top cornerback money, so he'll get that $20 million a year. You don't pay the running backs. Like you said, you're not going to pay the running backs. You got to get Odell off the books. You can get a good player or a good pick for Odell. Clax, I'm sure will agree. Someone will want Odell.
I'm going to disagree on that, but go ahead.
You don't think you get at least, at worst, a second-round pick for Odell?
Nope. Not with that contract.
Oh, I do.
I don't think so. Who's going to pay who's going to pay a second-round pick for a guy that has both his fucking legs all fucked up?
Miami Dolphins will.
No.
The San Francisco 49ers will.
The only team that's dumb enough to do that is the Browns, and they already did it.
You know who else might? The
Jets. The Patriots. That's or the Bucks. 2 words for you to sum up this whole debate here. The guy won a Heisman Trophy. He has this body of work he's put together. Let's just say he goes 12-4 this year. It's really simple. Kirk Cousins. You telling me that Baker's not going to get a top-notch contract? Because he absolutely is.
He's going to get the contract. He's going to have the wins. What he's probably not going to have is any playoff wins this year. That I will agree with you, Clax. You said even if he makes the playoffs, they're not going to win any games.
They could get a first. They could win in the first round.
If the Cleveland
possible,
if they win in the first round, that is huge.
It could be Indy or somebody like that in the first.
You know what? I take back my Bill Belichick Coach of the Year. Stefanski in Cleveland would be Coach of the Year if that's the case.
All right.
If they win 11 games, that's the Coach of the Year right there in Cleveland. I've been putting up a fight that Bill Belichick should be up for Coach of the Year this year. I know their team's not doing great. I don't even know what the score is right now, but
Stefanski should be Coach of the Year.
But now
He's done an incredible job
up there, man. That guy. Now that the more and more I think about it, Stefanski. Jeez Louise. All right. Well, we made it to the end of our gambling edition. Aksel, thank you for joining us today. I'm kind of excited. I'm going to get you back on because we do need to talk some basketball. I know you said you're a little out of the loop right now, but I still think you know more than 98% of the people, and you've forgotten more basketball than a lot of these people know.
I'll do my best.
You know what they don't know, Aksel, is that me and you used to, sit on the couch.
We started fantasy basketball.
We did start rotisserie basketball out of the New York Post and notebooks. Even stats.
Composition notebooks.
That's the most math I ever did in those 3 years of my life.
You got $5 a week.
It was $5 a week. That was big time. Clax, do you know about this? Did I ever tell you about what Aksel and I, before there was online, before there was fantasy sports, we did something called rotisserie basketball. And we kept the stats. Thank God my grandfather got the New York Post every day. So I get on there and we keep the stats for our players and we pick people up. And I mean, these are the good old days of rookie Tracy McGrady with, Barkley and Shaq. And this is probably 96, I would say, something around then. We probably started doing it. And it was the start. And some of my favorite memories growing up were sitting on well, it's funny. We started fantasy basketball, Aksel, but you know what else we started? I think we started MMA as well in your basement.
I think so.
People did karate, people did jiu-jitsu, but your dad was kicking our ass with every form of martial arts when we were young teenagers in
That's right.
Stu Hart's dungeon. And Clax, you don't even know, man. And I was the greenest of the greenest. We had another big doofy guy who had doofus strength with us.
Yeah.
But and then there's me that shows up, this little skinny Jew with long hair, and his father's like, okay. And the cool down was watching the Knicks on his TV after it. I'm like, wow, he's so calm watching the Knicks. Well, where is that when we're in the dojo downstairs? But that was
good times, man. That was great times.
King the dog was the mascot, and it was good. There's no complaints. Your mom would cook us meals. I can't complain. I love Anush.
It was the simple days. Anush will actually be here on the 20th.
I think Anush needs to come on All Fired Up next time we come as well. I think she needs a cameo.
Yeah. She'll be here.
No matter what she says, Clax, it's pure gold. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Nice.
The hair is always perfect. It's never out of place, ever. It's amazing.
She's got that fro.
I know. I'm going to grow mine back. It's going to be a different color, but I'm going to grow mine back just to be like her, I think. It's inspiring. You can find this on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, 14 other places where they do podcasts. I don't know all the names of them. We're on YouTube. I'm going to post this video. I haven't been posting a lot of the videos lately just because the audio is so much better once Joey Clax mixes it. But we got Axel's beautiful face. We're gonna have to show this, I think. We don't have Fox here showing us up, Clax, with the looks. We got more beard, all facial hair on this episode. But we're going to get you back. Like I said, we're going to talk basketball. Maybe we get a little Yankee, some baseball out of you. Maybe when Fox comes on, we'll talk some soccer. I know he always wants to talk soccer with somebody. I'm just never the guy that knows anything. So you bring some Euro swag,
I mean, we could talk about it. I mean, I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth, but I mean,
it's gonna be something golden. That's all I know. I do know that Messi played Ronaldo 2 days ago. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Who scored 2 goals in that game?
Messi.
Nope.
I don't know.
Ronaldo. You're close though. It was a 50-50 shot.
So I did see that an American kid scored a goal in that game as well.
He's good.
Is he?
He's good. Is that like that's the?
Is he actually American or is he one of those like? Oh,
no, he's American, born in like
really?
one of our cities. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Who knew?
Whenever you see like those like, oh, this guy's American, it's like, oh, he was born in like, I don't know.
Born in Brazil, but he lived in America. Yeah.
Exactly. Or like he was the son of a military guy in like some random country. So he like grew up there and knows nothing about America. It's kind of funny, but whatever.
Well,
I mean,
America will take whatever we can get. Okay, that's all. Yeah. I stayed next to all the best women soccer players when I came to New York in March, and I realized they're so much better than the men. It doesn't even matter. Who cares about the men? It's all about women's soccer. Let's give some love to the women's soccer, Clax. Your daughter, she might be on the team one day. You never know. Women's soccer.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. She got the Clax genes. I don't see
probably not.
Her sport.
Probably not.
But you know what she might be with the Clax genes? She could win a pie eating contest one day.
She could definitely do that.
Clax, I forgot to tell you, I did have 9 wings for dinner tonight in your honor before we did this.
That makes me happy.
I went blue hair, 9 wings. That was my night. You have any final thoughts for today, Clax?
Not really. I guess the thought that I left you with to start the day, which is if you're going to go to McDonald's, take your hash brown, throw it on your egg McMuffin, and stop wasting time. That's my final thought.
Okay.
That's a really good pro tip. I never thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fat man's pro tip, by the way. That's not just a normal pro tip.
Yeah,
that's still a good pro tip.
Yep.
Axel, you have any final thoughts?
I think my only final thought is that once again, happy Hanukkah, everybody. Everyone should be really excited and
Shana Tova.
Absolutely. And I think that we've had a very interesting year to say the least. But the good thing is the sports is ramping up, and I think we have a lot of good, fun entertainment coming, and it's exciting to talk about it.
I had an amazing final take, and I totally forgot what it is, so I have to change my whole thought.
Hey, shout out to my kids. Right here.
Nice.
Oh, look at that. There they are.
Yeah, look at this picture.
Yeah, look at that picture. Looking good. Now we have to show the video. I say shout out to my kid too, but she's in another room, so I don't have a picture to point to. I think the only thing I could do is pull my video off. But we do have the holiday season coming up now. Sports are coming to a funny place where we only have football, and when football ends, we're gonna have nothing but just some basketball. But I don't care about anything. You know what I care about? The New York Mets have a new owner. And when are we going to sign some players, man? I'm ready. Sign some players. Let's go. We signed a relief pitcher, and he said I came there just because the owner seems crazy and ready to spend money, so I came to the team. Let's go. I'm ready for baseball for the first time in like 5 years. I'm excited. We need Lindor. We need Bauer. We need Springer. And then we can make a trade or two for some other relief pitchers. But that's what I'm thinking about right now, because I can't remember what my final thought was going to be. That was so good before.
Do you have to pay Robinson Cano?
Nope. He's off the payroll now. $23 million.
Nice.
Yeah, we could put that right towards someone else. I mean, it's amazing. He's never playing a game. Robinson Cano, piece of crap Yankee.
I just hope that the Yankees re-sign LeMahieu. I think
they're not.
Yes.
That's gonna
Calm down. Calm down.
Yeah. So I think once that happens, I'm just ready for the season to start.
Do the Yankees need more pitching?
Yes.
Yes, 1,000%. But in the same time, that's a rich man's problem that we have. So
yes,
we'll see what happens.
You have an ace.
Well, boy, do we have an ace.
which most teams don't have. I'll be.
Boy, do we have an ace. But we're getting what's his name back. Well, I'm blanking right now. I'm getting tired. But I think right now what we need to do is just get our boy LeMahieu back. That's job number one. Once that's done, I think everything else will slowly fall in its place.
They're gonna have to pay him like 20-something mil a year to keep him.
No, I mean, no offense to the Yankees, and I'm always looking for a deal. You know me, but I know offense to the Yankees that they got away with murder with that contract for the last 2 years. So pay the man his money.
He's a batting champion. He's in the top 5 for MVP, and he plays the middle infield and covers first base. Gary Sanchez got a contract offer too. It looks like, Clax. What do you think of that?
Not sure what this has to do with gambling.
Well, I got Aksel on, and we could talk Yankees for a second. So
Gary Sanchez got a contract offer from who?
The Yankees.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
All right, that's all we need to say then. Until the next episode. Fire up.